Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Boxing Along the Beltway, our news and notes for this week. And a lot going on this week in and out of the Beltway and even in and out of boxing a little bit this week as we will update you not only on the September schedule, we'll update you on the amateur show is taking place in the next few weeks. And we got a win for one of our Beltway boxers. And we'll close by telling what is becoming a very sad story in the Beltway. Involving one of our Beltway boxers. We'll tell you more about that as we go along. Boxing on the Beltway boxing news and notes brought to you by Real-Time Pain Relief from boxers, ballerinas, from shoulder pain to muscle strain and everything in between. Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. You go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. Well, let's start with our Beltway boxer who was in action last Saturday at the Resorts World Casino in Queens, New York. That was Greg, the sharpshooter Outlaw. He's super lightweight out of Bowie, Maryland. He won a 6-round unanimous decision in his bout against Sidney Kilo Macau out of New York City. And Outlaw boxed in his first road trip. First time he fought outside the Beltway. First time he fought outside of Rosecroft Raceway. All three of his bouts were in Rosecroft Raceway beforehand. But he scored a 6-round unanimous decision. He really took control of the bout in the second half of the bout. He landed some solid left hands, and Macau's offense started to dwindle as the bout wore on. Outlaw won by scores of 59-55 and 58-56 twice. He's still undefeated, 4-0, 1 KO. And Macau, who's been here before, he lost his first bout in the area a while back. He falls now to 4-7 with 3 KOs. So a nice performance for Greg, the sharpshooter Outlaw, and that's our update for the bouts that have taken place this week. Got a lot going on in the next couple of weeks. We'll tell you more about that in a moment. Now, the big event this week is an amateur show that takes place on Thursday night, September 21st. That'll be at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen, Burnie, Maryland. Baltimore Boxing, Jake Smith will be back in action there. And this is kind of a special one. A lot of the cards that Jake Smith has are very special, but this one even more so. It's called Punches and Prayers for Alan Blywis. Now, Alan the Rock Blywis was a boxer, amateur and pro. He didn't last very long as a pro boxer, but he ended up being a sparring partner for a lot of boxers over the years. He's out of Pikesville, Maryland. Now, for the last few years, he's had a number of serious health issues. I mean, he's had a testicular hernia. He had a stomach ailment that required 2/3 of his stomach to be removed. He's had spine and hip procedures that limited his mobility. And then in March of 2016, he was diagnosed with pugilistic dementia. Now, again, he fought as an amateur, didn't fight long as a pro, but quite frankly, sometimes it does not take that long, unfortunately. And in this case, it didn't take long, and Blywis's memory has faded. His speech has halted. He also requires a walker and a wheelchair to get around. So it's really tough for this one. So that they're going to raise some money for his medical expenses. Tickets for the event are $40 in general admission. VIP seats, that are going fast, by the way, are $60. And the main event on the card will be a matchup for the East Coast Heavyweight Championship. That'll be Brian Hainslager, and he's fought on a lot of Jake Smith's amateur cards and amateur portions of pro cards. He's always been successful. He'll take on Tyrone Holt in the matchup for the East Coast Heavyweight Championship. And also, Deshaun Chase will be battling for the Maryland State welterweight title, and Clayton Frazier for the Maryland State middleweight title. No word yet on their opponents. The bouts will get underway at 8:15 p.m. That is Thursday night, September 21st, Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. The Punches and Prayers card for Alan Blywis, and we hope they raise a lot of money for that. Now, coming up in the schedule this week, a lot going on in the schedule. First of all, on Tuesday, September 19th, this will be at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Two of the Russell brothers, and not Gary Russell Jr. this time. This will be Antonio and Antoine Russell. They'll be on a card at the Sands Event Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is a King's Promotions card, I believe. Now, Antonio Russell, who is a 8-0 with 6 KOs, He'll take on a guy by the name of Christian Renteria. He's out of Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. And his record is 7-5 with 6 KOs. Antonio Russell last fought on May 20th at the MGM National Harbor in Oxon Hill, Maryland, won a third round TKO over Giovanni Fuentes. And he'll be on that card. Christian Renteria last fought against a guy named Tenochtitlan Nava. Interesting name, Tenochtitlan. That's a town in Mexico, I believe. He fought him and lost a 6-round unanimous decision at the Belasco Theater in Los Angeles, California. That was the first time, I believe, that Renteria has fought in the United States. That happened on June 2nd in Los Angeles. Other than that, he fought one other time in the United States. And that was at the Santander Arena in Reading, Pennsylvania. He lost a third-round TKO to Stephen Fulton. But other than that, all his bouts have taken place in Tijuana. And so this is another interesting bout for Antonio Russell, who has done outstandingly so far as a pro. This is his third scheduled 6-round bout. I'll tell you about it. This is his fifth scheduled 6-round bout. Actually be a sixth, I guess now. Sixth scheduled 6-round bout. And this bout against Christian Renteria. So that'll be on Tuesday, September 19th at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center. Also on the card, Antoine Russell made his pro debut. Didn't make his pro debut. He fought. He's 1-0, 1 KO. Fought on the fought on the May 20th card at Oxon Hill as well. Won a 6-round, first round TKO over Josh Ross in that bout. So Antoine Russell. Antoine doesn't have an opponent for the card yet. And that'll be on Tuesday, September 19th at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Then on Saturday, September 23rd at the Rivers Casino and Resort in Schenectady, New York, undefeated Baltimore welterweight Malik the Iceman Hawkins will be on the card. No word yet on his opponent. Hawkins 11-0, 8 KOs, and he fought on the April 14th card at the MGM National Harbor, and he scored a second-round TKO over Carlos Soto. Carlos Soto could not come out for the third round. Next, I believe he was hurt in that one and could not come out. But Hawkins won that bout. He's fought very well as of late, and he does not have an opponent yet for this bout. This bout is scheduled to be for 8 rounds. His second scheduled 8-rounder in this bout on September 23rd in the Rivers Casino Resort in Schenectady, New York. On Thursday night, September 28th, at the Crown Plaza Louisville Airport Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky, Joshua Dynamite Davis takes on perhaps his toughest opponent today, although his last opponent was actually 7-1 when he faced him. Joshua Davis will take on Ray Lightning Jr. Lampkin out of Portland, Oregon. Joshua Davis 11-1, 5 KOs, while Lampkin is 10-0 with 4 KOs. Joshua Davis coming off the 7th round TKO win over Carlos Rosario. That was on May 19th at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So Lampkin's coming off a 2nd round TKO over Martin Rodriguez on February 27th in Agua Prieta, Sonora, Mexico. This bout, I believe, is scheduled for 8 rounds. It'll be Davis's second 8-rounder. Lampkin has yet to go 8 rounds. And in Lampkin's last few bouts, he's only fought 2 guys that have had over 500 records. So this can be interesting. Now, this bout is a bout that's promoted by Evander Holyfield, Real Deal Promotions, so another Beltway boxer on one of his cards, and it's going to be televised on the CBS Sports Network. No word yet when Davis Lampkin would be on the telecast, but it looks like an attractive matchup. If you look at it on paper, you got 11-1 against 10-0, so I don't see why it wouldn't be on the telecast. I think it would make sense. See what's happening. So we'll see what happened with that one. So once again, that's about scheduled for 8 rounds. Ray Lampkin out of Portland, Oregon. He is 10-0, 4 KOs, taking on DC's Joshua Dynamite Davis, 11-1, 5 KOs. That's about scheduled for 8 rounds at the Crown Plaza Louisville Airport Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky. It may be on the telecast on CBS Sports Network. Then we move to Friday, September 29th. and about at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And a couple of Beltway boxers are on this card. Michael the Professor Fox, he faces perhaps his most talented opponent to date in a scheduled 8-round bout as he takes on Marlon La Furia Negra Aguas of Ecuador. Michael Fox, undefeated, 14-0, 4 KOs, coming off an 8-round unanimous decision win over Daniel Sostre on June 3rd at Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland. His last 3 bouts have been there. Excuse me. Marlon Aguas will be bouncing back off a loss to undefeated Ivan Golub. That was a 6-round stoppage there on March 25th of 2016 at the Buffalo Run Casino in Miami, Oklahoma. So, Aguas has not fought since March of 2016, and he's only fighting for the second time in the United States. That last bout against Ivan Golub, who's a very good boxer, will be his first bout in the United States. He lost by 6-round stoppage there. And Michael Fox takes on Marlon Aguas, and we'll see what happens. 14-0, 4 KOs for Michael Fox. Also on the card, Juan de Xavier Rodriguez out of Haymarket, Virginia. He is 7-7 with 1 draw and 5 KOs. He will battle Mr. Marvelous, Maynard Allison. Originally from Siler City, North Carolina, now fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Rodriguez coming off a 6-round unanimous decision loss to Tyrone Crawley at the 2300 Arena back on May 19th. Maynard Allison coming off a 4th-round TKO stoppage of Roy Garcia on June 22nd at the Durham Armory in Durham, North Carolina. Now, prior to that, though, he defeated one of our Beltway boxers, Eric El Trito Hernandez, back on May 20th at the Raleigh Convention Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. He won an 8-round unanimous decision in that bout. Other than beating Hernandez, the biggest win Allison's had other than that was against Ladarius Miller he lost that bout. So really the biggest win he's had was against Eric Hernandez. That was a big win because Eric Hernandez was undefeated going into that bout as well. Rodriguez, as I said, he's lost 5 of his last 6 bouts. His last win was on March 11th at the Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Won a 6-round split decision over David Gonzalez. So this will be a big bout for Juan Rodriguez against Mr. Marvelous, Maynard Allison. That's bout scheduled for 6 rounds. Once again, that's September 29th at the at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So we'll see what happens as that bout goes on. Now, again, we don't have another card until October 14th at the ABC Sports Complex in Springfield, Virginia. And, of course, the big bout everybody's talking about is the bout that's going to take place on that same day, October 14th, at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, where Swift Jarrett Hurd defends his title for the first time against former world champion Austin Trout. Also, Justin Hurd will be on that card as well. But we'll give you all the details about that. Next is a bus trip going to that card. We'll talk about that more next week, about the bus trip that's heading to Brooklyn for that card. That's the schedule pretty much. And again, not a whole lot in the area, but as we go through this season, a lot of our boxers fighting elsewhere, so it's really tough for us to get good events there. Now, we end this podcast on a very tough note. And this is a tough one for a lot of reasons. A lot of times boxers do this so often. Yeah, I won't say it's a lot of times. Sometimes. I won't say a lot. But I know of a couple of situations where this has happened. Where you do this so much as an amateur. You start when you're a little kid and you just fight and battle and box and box and box. And then sometimes you just, for whatever reason, get tired of it. And you end up doing other things. And sometimes those other things aren't the best. We've had a number of boxers like that. And I really believe that Larry Riccio was a part of that at one point. Larry Riccio, back in the mid-2000s, actually the early 2000s, really, actually the late 1990s, really, he was a very prominent amateur in this area. he was around the time of the Peterson brothers and Gary Russell Jr. and Dominic Wade, and they were all very prominent amateurs at that time. And although Riccio was a little younger than those guys, he was still very well known, and people expected a lot out of him. And then I think at some point during his amateur career, he got bored. This is just my personal opinion. I don't know if it's true or not really, but this is just my opinion. He got bored. And sometimes when you get bored, you start thinking of doing other things. And sometimes some of those other things aren't the best things. Now, over the last few years, Riccio's had some difficulties with the law. And he's had difficulties in and out of the ring. He's had a gun charge against him. A couple years ago, he was shot and almost killed in an incident. But this may be the topper if it is true and it goes through. Let me read what's going on. Larry Riccio is 27 years old, out of Atlanta, Maryland. He was charged by Prince George's County Police yesterday for first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder in a shooting that took place back in 2009 of a 19-year-old woman who was at a graduation party. She was killed in that party. The woman's name was Shay Caldwell. They pronounce it Shay. Shay Caldwell. She was not one of the attempted victims. He was not one of the intended victims. And three other people who were also not intended victims were killed. Were injured. Apparently, there was a dispute involving a group of men, and police say Riccio opened fire on this group of men during this dispute. And again, Shay Caldwell and three other people, they were not the intended victims in this, and Miss Caldwell was killed and the other injured in the situation. Now, the break in the case came when the cold case unit turned up additional witnesses and evidence that linked Riccio with the shooting. Now, the sad part about this, along with the fact that people have died, Riccio is already in a medium security prison in West Virginia, because he was sentenced to 5 years for felony possession of illegally possessing a firearm. He was arrested in May of 2015 after being spotted by a Prince George's County gang unit handling the gun. Now, Riccio had already been convicted of a crime that had him spend a year in prison that makes him illegal to have a gun. So he's in prison right now for another charge altogether. Nothing to do with the charge he's been that's laid upon him now. Of course, during that time, after 2009, Larry Riccio finally came back. He turned pro. And from October 2013 to July 2014, he was undefeated. 7-0, 5 KOs, known as the Cuban Assassin. And things looked to be going his way until he got shot. But now it could all be for naught. I mean, he's scheduled to be released from West Virginia in 2019 and then extradited to PG County, where he will face charges in the death of Shay Caldwell. This is just sad. I mean, all the way around. It's sad because we have victims who have died and are injured because of this. And from a boxing standpoint, it's very sad because Riccio is very, very talented. And he's gone. I mean, he one way or another, chances are he'll never get his career back. There could be a possibility he may never get his boxing life back. Maybe in boxing for the rest. I mean, maybe in jail for the rest of his life. It is just a frustrating situation. But again, I think it's because a lot of times you just get bored. And a lot of times this business takes a lot out of you. I remember there was a kid a few years ago by the name of Jimmy Dickinson, who was one of the best amateurs around. And a lot of people thought highly of him. And then for whatever reason, and if somebody can help me find out where he is, please let me know. I'm at Digital25 on Twitter. beltwayboxing@hotmail.com. Want to let me know where Jimmy Dickinson is? Please let me know, because he just disappeared from the scene. I mean, we're looking for him to be involved in the Golden Gloves, and he was in the juniors, and he was a very prominent amateur. A lot of good things looking out for him, and he just decided he was done. And I hope he's having a good life. Hope he's not in trouble. But sometimes it's just too much, and it is frustrating because of it. And then what happens is sometimes you just go the wrong way, and that's apparently Larry Reese. I feel for his family, who are good people, but right now, as we stand here, he has been charged with attempted first-degree murder and first-degree murder in the 2009 fatal shooting of a 19-year-old woman during a graduation party. And it's just sad. No matter what happens, it's just very, very sad, because a life is lost. And then the other person who is accused of the shooting may be lost as well. So we pray for everybody involved. No question about that. So that will do it for another edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes. Remember, Boxing on the Beltway Boxing News and Notes brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. Go to freepainoffer.com. Buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world. The boxing along the Beltway. Take care.